guys, it's WooGs here. Yeah, this video is pretty old, I guess. This is for the third spot for Zon Rathma Tier 2. It's been about a week, I guess, maybe around that. I've just been a bit busy, took some time off after the kill and then got a bit busy farming up and didn't really get around to making this video. But I had quite a few people ask about it and if I recorded the kill, so I thought I'd, kind of get on it and show you guys. This is something I wanted to do this season from the beginning, was to do Rathma on Pokezon. I was doing Rathma on Pokezon season 10 and it was only really buffed since then, so I was kind of excited to do it here. I definitely wanted to make a few upgrades on my gear because I just wanted something really clean, but two of the Zons already went in, so I kind of had to just go in with what I had, which was still really good, but it wasn't exactly the setup I wanted to be farming the tier 2s, which I can talk about the changes I've made since here and what I'm doing since then, but we can kind of go into it. So, I mean, phase 1 is really the easiest phase by a large margin. You do so much damage. With Poke, you see here, the Sanguine Bearers just die almost immediately. So all you have to do is really just watch the spires as you poke them down, and if you see 2 or 3, just kind of get out of the way. And since it's a sequence attack, jab that is, you kind of don't get put into the knockback of the wave here like that, which is kind of what makes Fury and something so good in this fight. So you kind of just get to ignore the knockback there unless you're not attacking or something. So it's definitely a huge advantage. Fend itself is kind of useless, so we don't use Fend at all. We just sit around here with jab. You see here, that's what that looks like if you're not stuck in the animation. So obviously you want to be in the jab animation near Mendel at all times. I mean, this phase you could do very easily. I currently only go in with a belt of rejuves total, and that's enough to get through this phase with pretty ease, because you can kind of just attack these guys and then kind of one by one dodge the spires and move on. So obviously during this phase, Mendel is invincible, so you can't attack him at all. You got to clear all 4 of those golems before he gets close. And you do want to stay as close to him as possible to avoid that sludge nova, because they can pretty much just take you down to 1 HP no matter what your HP is realistically, unless you got, in the 4K life or something, depending on double hits and such. So you just want to stay within range, and the range is really where the animation changes. You don't really need to be directly in melee, but just kind of close enough. Everything else he does is kind of just, that's the one there, and you can see the animation change. Everything else he does is just poison damage. That's kind of just taken care of by your PLR. He does have the P-Nova at the end of his Poison Creeper phase that you have to antidote. However, as you saw in that one, which I probably should have talked about, we do so much damage that he never gets to do his Poison Nova, because by the time before he finishes his sequence of attacks during his Creeper phase, we take him down to the health that he starts spawning the Sanguine Bearers, so it kind of just skips the cast of P-Nova. So that's a pretty common thing for a lot of builds. For auras, not always so much, but for most farming builds, that's kind of where you want to end up at, because it just speeds up the fight a lot, and just, yeah, that's kind of where the damage ends up. He's not that much difference threshold between the two, so you can kind of get by it really quick. You can see how annoying the ad phases here are with melee. I mean, you can fend your way through it. I just kind of run through it because I hate it. It's just really frustrating. Okay, so phase 2, phase 2 starts getting a little bit more dangerous. You see that was just the clip of the spear, and there was a clip of a spear with a little bit of damage. You can see how quickly your life can go down. You saw there that I was actually kind of out of the way, but I still got hit by it. So you do need to be a bit careful with desync and lags. When you hear that noise, you want to move out of the way. I've successfully not dodged any of them yet. I mean, that's typically some nerves, I guess, going into aura kills, but so you really want to make sure you are dodging the spears and hearing that noise, that's the spear noise there, when the Void Knights are out. Because if you get hit by a spear and hit by 1 or 2 knights, you're definitely going to die with this kind of HP. That's why most people are usually going in with quite a bit more HP, but It's a bit difficult early on a Zon to get much more than this. I think I want to aim for around 3.4, 3.5k when I'm farming, but this is kind of where I was at for the kill. So I kind of ran away to separate them a little bit because they were all kind of grouped right beside Rathma, which can be extremely dangerous if he gets his spear out. I'm amped right now, you saw, and the Void Knight, Fizz Void Knight's really the scariest, so I'm just wanting to get him down as quick as possible. The other nice thing about this fight in Season 11 is that they got rid of how often you're decrept, so it makes this a lot better for melee, which is, you know, quite a nice thing. You did see that there was a very close Conjuring Soul spawning to the edge. He didn't spawn outside, which is a bug that can happen in this season, but it was very close. I was a bit worried about that, but it didn't happen here at least. So, but generally you want to get these Conjuring Souls down as quick as possible. They cast a Fissure on the ground, which does really high fire damage, and it can definitely, if you're standing on that, plus a Bone Spear, that can definitely get you killed. So we're in a cage there, which is a bit frustrating, so we're just going to kind of move around. You can see the damage that the Fizz Knight does and the Fire Knight does there, so you really got to be careful not to get hit by a spear when you're near them. So I usually overpot and take this one a bit slow, because you have enough pots to survive here, so just gotta walk around and make sure they're not grouped together so you don't get blown up on that. Then you just refill your pots as much as possible. When you're down to just the bosses, it's just, you do so much damage that it's so quick. You see I wasn't worried about killing the Conjuring Soul there. I didn't have that many pots left after this phase, which is pretty uncommon, I would say. Usually it's a lot more pots, but for whatever reason with how I played, that's kind of where we ended up. But I guess I can chat a bit quickly about that. So in this season we have the Conjuring Souls that can spawn outside of the arena. I'm not sure what causes that bug now, but it's really frustrating because you can be in a position where you have, you know, one or two, which is can ruin your run, but you can probably get around it. But then there's other times I've been farming since this kill where I have 4 or 5 out at the same time and I can't kill them because they're outside and you can't physically damage them. And that's, I mean, it's catastrophic to your to your run. You might still be able to finish, and I have sometimes just because of, you know, a really good run, and maybe they're on the one side, so you kind of stay to the other side of the arena, but it can also just completely ruin a run that would otherwise be successful. So I'm really upset about that, to be honest, because it adds another layer of RNG that is a bit unnecessary. I don't think we needed more RNG in this fight, but hopefully it gets fixed. That's all I would say. I just know a lot of us don't really enjoy farming tier 2 Rathma at the moment, purely because of this this bug, because it just makes the run so inconsistent, and you know, some are much harder than the next for really no reason, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Obviously, if Rathma's in the center of the arena, he's not going to spawn them on the outside, but controlling that he's in the center the entire time while trying to dodge every other attack and killing off the knights and everything like that, it's not really a realistic scenario to do, though it is somewhat possible in Phase 2, but in Phase 3 you can't really get around that. So we're just going to clear off the minions here, and then we're going to jump into P3. P3, really we're just going to focus down men down and, you know, try not to double phase them at the same time, and then kind of clean out the knights. So let's see how well this goes based on what I was trying to do. But we go right after men down first. We could have intersighted right at the beginning. I didn't this time, for whatever reason. I typically do that now. It's not a major difference, but it's kind of nice. You see the sludge there took me right down to 1 HP. Here's a soul that spawned right at the beginning that I can't kill. So he's just going to be there cheering us on for the whole fight, it seems. He does still cast Fissure, so you have to be a bit careful. You see there, we pushed to a phase there, and then refilled our pots, and then we kind of went in. They were being a bit aggressive, so I kind of wanted to force them to do something so to allow me to fill up my pots. At this point, you have two options. You can fill up right now while trying to dodge the attacks like I'm doing, or you can just straight up attack Mendown, and then when Mendown teleports to the middle to do his creeper phase, then you can fill up your pots. Depending how many pots you have left, I would do one of the two. So in this part here, all you do is dodge the attacks of Rathma and fill up your pots is really all you do. I did attack Mendown there at the end, just because I wanted to get him a bit closer to phasing. For the knights will come out right after, but you have to be careful not to do too much damage there or else the knights will spawn. So that they were a big group there, which was kind of nice. It can be quite dangerous, but it kind of worked out for us. So we're just going to clear out that group as much as possible, then go find the Fizz one, which we did. So now that they're all done, what you want to do, since I'm low on pots, I want to try to fill up a little bit, and then I have just a couple there, and then I put him into the middle. So now that he's in the middle, I'm going to do exactly what I said, which was fill up my pots. We're going to kill out this soul that spawned in the middle, get back to full, because the last Void Knights is the hardest, so you want to make sure you're close to full belt when that's coming out. Here we go. We see the Fizz Knight close right away, so we go after him almost immediately. Unluckily, Mendown did do a poison creeper phase at the same time. We did a little bit too much damage there, so that was a bit wild on the pots I had to do, so it looked a bit dicey there. But at this point, you could be extremely confident because Mendown is out of phases and you only have the bosses left, so it's extremely easy to kill the bosses on their own. The only real danger is the Void Knights, so you can kind of just take this slow and kind of wait for them to come out, and that's it. So we got lucky there with only one out of phase Void Knight, Conjuring Soul. But yeah, that was kind of it. So there was two that went in, so I kind of just wanted to get it done. Appreciate all the likes everyone gave. I kind of wanted to get done in a bit of a rush so I didn't miss the third spot there. I was taking my time a little bit, but then I saw the Cold Zon went in and got it done. Yeah, as you see here, that was my first Rathma at all. I didn't do a T0 or T1 at all. I wasn't really ready to go in or practice yet, so that's kind of what I did. I haven't even slammed my Annie at this point. I think I took a bit of a break here just to chat with my buddies on Discord, but now just cut it here. So we can see here I had a 5-socket Stone Raven with an IAS jewel inside, and the rest were ED jewels. Nothing too crazy there. You see a ruby in the Andy's Visage, a nice amulet, Ohm in my armor here, just a 2 max belt random, AR Raven, some gloves, PLR, and then see there. So like nothing too crazy, just some plain lifers there. Nothing too crazy. I think I'm just a 5 BO CTA in that. Min stats across the board, and we're at about 2943 life. So a couple pots left with that stats. But obviously putting in Jaws, taking out those ohms, getting a Snow Clash, those kinds of changes, that brought me up from 2.9 to 3.3k. I still haven't upgraded my Stone Raven yet. That's kind of next on the list, but that will also help me reduce one of my IS jewels, and yeah, that'll help a lot. So we just max the skills there, just the pure Fizz skills. I like to get 16 soft in dodge and evade for the breakpoints, and then max penetrate, of course. I just threw some extra in crit, but you can really throw them around anything there. And that's about it, guys. Cheers.